My husband revealed under anesthesia that he'd been fired 3 years ago and faked going to work every day since. I thought I knew everything about my husband Brett after 15 years of marriage. Turns out I didn't know we were $400,000 in debt and 6 weeks from bankruptcy. We were at the outpatient surgical center getting his colonoscopy done. Just a routine screening now that he'd turned 45. Brett had been anxious about it for weeks. Not about the procedure, but about missing work. Can't afford to take a day off during quarter end, he'd said. Morrison's breathing down everyone's neck about the Singapore merger. Morrison had been his boss at the investment firm for 8 years. I'd met him at 3 company Christmas parties. Nice enough guy, terrible breath, always talked about his boat. The nurse called me back after about 90 minutes. Brett was in recovery, still pretty drowsy from the propofol and whatever else they'd given him. He looked peaceful lying there, like he used to look on Sunday mornings before the kids woke up. He did great, the nurse said. Just needs about 30 more minutes before you can take him home. I sat next to him scrolling through emails when Brett started mumbling. At first, just nonsense words. Then suddenly, crystal clear. Can't let Mira find out about Morrison. What about Morrison, honey? I asked, thinking maybe he was worried about missing more work. Morrison's been gone for 3 years. Brett slurred, his eyes still closed. They fired him the same day they fired me. March 15th. Black Friday they called it. Whole derivatives desk, gone. My phone nearly slipped from my hand. Brett, what are you talking about? His eyes opened slightly, unfocused. 42 people. Just walked us out with boxes. Security watching, like criminals. Told us not to tell anyone while they investigated the trades. Brett, you went to work this morning. You go to work every morning. He started laughing, but it was hollow. Parking garage on 6th Street. Sit there from 7:30 to 6. Sometimes I go to the library, sometimes the mall. Anywhere with Wi-Fi so I can answer your texts about dinner or picking up milk. The nurse had discreetly left, probably sensing this was beyond normal anesthesia rambling. 3 years? My voice cracked. You've been pretending to go to work for 3 years? Had to keep the money coming, he mumbled. Mortgage, Carrie's college, Matt's baseball. Couldn't disappoint you. What money? If you haven't been working, credit cards, personal loans, borrowed against the 401k, then cashed it out completely. $78,000 from your mom. You borrowed money from my mother? Told her it was for an investment opportunity, guaranteed returns. She gave me her entire savings. Thought I could pay it back when I got a new job. But the background check. They always find out about the investigation. What investigation? But Brett had drifted back to sleep, leaving me alone with the weight of what I just learned. I drove him home in silence, my mind racing through 3 years of lies. Every morning watching him put on his suit, complaining about traffic, texting about fictional meetings, the raise he supposedly got last year, the bonus that paid for our anniversary trip to Hawaii. That evening, after Brett was coherent and the kids were at practice, I confronted him with what he'd said. His face went white. I wanted to tell you so many times, he said, but after the first lie, I couldn't stop. I kept thinking I'd get another job before you found out. I made him show me everything. Every credit card statement he'd hidden, every loan document, every fake pay stub he'd created in Photoshop. The total was $437,000 in debt, not counting what he owed my mother. The house? I asked. 3 months behind. Foreclosure notice comes next week. Carrie's college fund? Gone. Took a loan out for the semester's tuition. Our savings? There is no savings. Haven't been any savings for 2 years. The investigation he'd mentioned? The firm suspected insider trading. Brett was cleared eventually, but by then he was radioactive. No firm would touch him. He'd applied to over 200 jobs, made it to final rounds at 12. Every time they'd suddenly go with another candidate after the background check. So every morning for 3 years, you kissed me goodbye and drove to a parking garage? He nodded. Paid for monthly parking with a credit card. Brought my laptop. Applied for jobs. Watched YouTube videos about staying positive. Ate lunch from the dollar menu. Drove home at 6:30 like nothing was wrong. The divorce would have been clean except there was nothing to split but debt. I moved back with my mom, who forgave me but not Brett for the $78,000 she'll never see again. Brett moved into his brother's basement. The twist? 6 months after everything came out, Brett finally got a job. Entry-level analyst position at a small firm. Salary, $52,000. Less than a third of what he used to make. He sends me $500 a month for the kids and pays my mom $200. At that rate, he'll be 70 before the debt is clear. I still see him at Matt's games sometimes. He still wears his old suits from his investment banking days, tailored and expensive, now growing shiny at the elbows. We don't talk about those 3 years he spent in a parking garage, pretending his life hadn't fallen apart, texting me about fictional meetings while sitting in his car watching YouTube. The propofol made him tell the truth. But honestly, I think he was relieved. 3 years of performing normalcy every single day must have been its own kind of prison.